I want to build the ultimate BMW M car. I've purchased two vehicles, the first one being the Z4 Coupe. These cars are getting rarer and rarer, and I think they're one of the prettiest BMWs out there. The heart of the project is in the second car, an E93 BMW M3. It has the iconic naturally aspirated V8. This 4 litre revs over 8,000 RPM. I believe combining this coupe with some raw V8 performance and a 6-speed manual gearbox will become personally my favourite BMW performance car. It really is going to be a shame to break this car. Anyway, I need to get to the airport. I'm off to Sweden. Now I need to get out of this place without hitting the barriers. So I made it to Sweden. Is this enough snow for you? It's cold. What are the odds it's open? Managed to get away from the rally early today. Found some night skiing in Sweden. It's a good surprise. I'm a bit rusty as well. Here we go. Straight line it. Oh shit, it's steep. This is Sam's big moment. Made it. Third time's the charm. Hey, that's better. Should we go and sit outside? Maybe not. And that's a wrap. We're done in Sweden. I have a few hours to kill before we get to the airport. I thought it's such a nice day. Why don't I just walk rather than get a taxi? So that is what I am doing. I think it's about an hour's walk or so. The rally went really well, no dramas. I'm just looking forward to get back now and carry on with the Z4 project. It won't be long before we get the V8 out of the M3, then we can see how well it fits in the car. I have also clocked there is a go-kart track right around the back of the airport. If I have time, I might go for a blast before my flight. We'll have a look. I found the go-kart track. Turns out it's only open in the summer because someone just told me that it's outside. and that I was stupid. To be fair, online it did say that it was open, but I've got time to walk back to the airport, which is literally just over there. Could be a worse place to be though. I can understand her point as well. She's probably thinking, what the f is this English guy doing? Turning up in 5 feet of snow, expecting to go go-karting. It is what it is. Maybe next time, Umeå go-karting. Now we're back in the UK, in Herefordshire, in the build tent. We can continue. The 3 litre I removed last week is still nicely suspended, so kudos to the ram on this engine crane. I now need to decide what's next. I have a lot of cleaning up to do under here in preparation for installing the V8. I need to decide what we keep and what we lose. My main concern at the moment is getting the engine as far back in the car as possible and having enough room for the M3 manual gearbox. I think I need to get all this trim off, certainly get this out the way. My plan is to do away with the air conditioning, to be honest. Then maybe we do some serious modifications to the bulkhead, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Let's get some more of the engine bay removed. It's completely seized up. Got seizures. I'm removing more of the AC system. Out comes the bit I broke, not my problem anymore, and a pair of heater hoses. At this stage I want to be smart. I will hold back on removing the front subframe as I want to see where the engine lies. It's going to make it a lot easier if I can use the Z4 subframe, make some custom mounts for the M3 engine. The same goes for the trim around the bulkhead. The biggest constraint with getting the engine far back could be either side where the chassis leg goes into the middle. So from a bird's eye view, it goes into a V where the gearbox goes under the car. The manifolds on the V8 could be the restricting factor. So regardless of modifying this area, bringing it back, there may not be any need. So I'm going to leave that. Engine position at the front is the focal point. The second thing is going to be driving position. I am a tall chap. I want to be sat back in the car as far as possible. This means I want to take some more of the interior out, and I can think of a plan with what I'm going to do with all of this area. Again, the limiting factor is going to be that area. It will dictate where the back of the seat can go. We'll just take it step by step. I am pretty confident that we're going to have enough space for my lanky legs without modifying the rear bulkhead. That is good news, as I do want to keep things like the speakers. It makes it a lot simpler keeping that the same. One thing I know for certain is I'm struggling for space already in the tent. I do want to get the car higher up in the air, but before I do that I'll take this under tray off so I can get a better jacking point. I might just jack it up off the differential. Yikes. Excellent. One more piece off. I'm now removing some of these braces at the back end. Just long metal strut braces that go from the sill to the back of the diff. Yet more braces further up. Fucking hell. Yeah, that was all to plan. Did not realise it was holding the whole exhauster. One exhaust hanger saved me. Could have been a lot worse. That little red fella up there is the only one left. If it didn't have the cable tie on it, could have been nasty. We've landed. Full access to the prop now and the gear linkages. More bits coming off. I need to create some space at the back. Certainly on the side where the battery is. I will go for the Z4M rear bumper, meaning it has a position for the exhaust tips on that side as well. All of this has to be removed. Still no sign of real rust, which is ideal. To make things a bit easier working underneath, I'm going to remove the rear bumper. It's not going to be used anyway. The only issue I have at the moment is space for all the parts that are coming off the car. Water in that one. I'm struggling to get the arch liner out of this quarter. It's really tightly packed in there. I'm hoping by taking this battery tray out, it should free up a bit more space and I can push it further into the car. Bit of surface rust on this bit. I'm going to take the rear subframe off as one, so I need to disconnect all the wires and things that connect to the car so I can drop it down on the jack. It would just be a lot easier for me to take apart the suspension, which looks fairly rusty, without being upside down under the car. Have you ever made a special brake line spanner? You cut the end off a ring spanner, it's a lot easier. It's going to be easier to take the handbrake off from here so it comes off complete with the subframe. There we go. I now need to disconnect the dampers, which I can do from the top inside the car. Just two 13mm either side. There they go. It should just be these 4 subframe bolts now. 1, 2, 3, 4. What a nice controlled descent as I'm lying underneath it. Can't be much holding it on now. Now I've dropped it a bit, I'm going to take off the trailing arms. Apologies for the horrific lighting. Probably the rustiest part of the car I've seen yet. I think it's mostly surface. There we go. Easy now. clear springs out the way before they hit me in the head. It's on studs on the front, so as soon as it clears the studs, it could go anywhere. We're cruising at the moment. I think I'll just let it naturally find its way to the floor. Ah, that went exceptionally well. To be fair to BMW, they do put their cars together with some thought. Before I drag the subframe out from under the car, I need a really good sort out in here. I need to start deciding what bits I'm going to keep, what bits are going to go. But ultimately, I do need to get the M3 stripped down because that is going to help me decide what's going where. Okay, I have a pair of scales. I need to weigh these Z4 seats. I am curious myself to know how much they weigh, and I have a buyer who I need to ship them off to. So let's play a little game. I'll give you this time to guess what they weigh individually. Do some maths. 25.4 kilograms. Not as much as I thought, to be honest. I'll make sure the other one's the same. Oh, that's a bit more. Let's call it 28 for both. I'm just getting carried away now. 4.2 kilograms of airbags. I need to be on my P's and Q's when it comes to the wiring. Once I get some M3 hardware in here, it will soon become mighty confusing. Now I'll do a job that I've been putting off, is labeling all of the plugs inside the car. I'm happy with the stuff in the boot. I've basically put that back as it was, but it's mainly some of the dashboard items. As I go through it bit by bit, figuring it out, even with only a couple of weeks time passing, it's easy to forget what went where. So I may have to jump out the car and then match the hardware to the plug if I'm unsure. Eventually though, everything was dotted and crossed and we can move on. I think I'm just about winning. I believe I have everything labelled inside. All of the footwell, a few things up here. I'm not going to label the steering column because that's dead obvious. It's this assembly. Now I don't need to worry about putting any of the M3 wiring loom in and getting confused with the Z4 stuff. Hopefully I can get the seats shipped off. Radiator assembly I can probably flog as well. Heater matrix is an unknown at the moment. Front and rear bumper I can sell. I do need to keep all the trim though. Until I strip the M3, I don't know how much of the dashboard I'm going to integrate into this car. Back onto the rear subframe assembly. I need to start getting all the bolts apart, which look quite rusty. So I'll quickly wire brush them, then I'll leave them in some spray to soak, ready for disassembly. And again, I need to get the M3 differential and drive shafts apart. Then I can go about seeing how I'm going to mount it in the cradle from the Z4. I want to modify things as little as possible, leaving it nice and easy to maintain. I'm hoping the diff from the M3 isn't too much bigger than the Z4, if any. Either way, we'll find a way to fit it. Door cards are another thing I haven't addressed yet. I'm sure I can find some ways to reduce some of the weight. This just about wraps another episode up. The next one will be stripping down the M3. I can't put it off much longer. I'm finally going to have to face the music and take apart, to be honest, quite a lovely car. It probably won't be easy to watch, but for those who do and have watched today as well, thank you as always. Hit the thumbs up, leave a comment if you want to. Go subscribe, and I'll see you very soon.